I found out about Poppy because Pam of Perfectly Holistic recently featured her, and Poppy and Pam are doing a workshop on June 3rd about eyes. And so I wanted to introduce you to her in case you wanted to also join the workshop. So without further ado, Poppy, thank you
Jenny,
very much for being here and doing this.
Jenny, thank you for having me. I don't get to do a ton of cats, so I am really thrilled to be able to assess your cat's eyes. I'm always looking for more cat people and especially experts. I'm a board certified animal naturopath. I work primarily on horses and dogs, so cats, I'm trying to up level my cat stuff, and that's why I'm partnering with Pam on this. But iridology works on all mammals, never done sharks or dolphins or anything like that. But you can do birds and you can do reptiles, anything you want, goats, horses, lions, owls, whatever you want. So
Oh,
yeah,
owls.
iridology is so much fun now because of the technology advancement of cell phones. I can bring it into the home for the pet parent now. You used to have to find somebody that did iridology and then go to their office and get your animal's eyes taken with
Oh.
elaborate equipment. And of course, cats shut down. And so there's not a whole lot of documented iridology cat eyes out there because people don't normally take their cats to an iridologist.
No.
No. So thank you for submitting your cat's eyes for me. And I can't wait to share your results. Should we get started?
Yes. And so I kind of want to also, just as a cat owner myself, like if I were watching this, I would want to understand like how you work. So I guess we should back up a little bit. I forgot to say that I sent you photos of Charlie and Trigg's eyes. I sent you a ton of photos, 65. And you picked the ones that were good for you to analyze. But then from there, like what's your normal, if someone were to reach out to you and want this done, how does it normally work?
So normally it's a little tough for dogs and cats. Horses have these big, pretty eyes, and they're really easy to photograph or video. And you send me your copy, and as long as they're clear enough, I can assess them. We book an appointment, we go through them together. And then once we assess them, like you work with Pam, I can push you towards Pam's direction. Like, here's the observations I'm seeing. Now you can go get help in those departments, or do you need to go to a veterinarian or something like that? But the eyes need to be clear. Like I said, cell phone technology is super awesome now. Make sure you clean your lenses. You can video, put the light on. My cell phone's off, it's plugged in, it died. But you have a feature where you can put your light on instead of auto, and then stand back and zoom in because the flash can be super annoying to your pets, and you don't want to offend them, so you could never take another set of eye photos again. And you can also put like a little cat toy attached to your phone, whatever you need. If you have friends with treats, and you can get a little extra eye on the side. If somebody wants to bring their cell phone and light up the eye on the side, you can do it like that too. But can't do it if you don't get great photos. The fun thing about cats is they have so many crazy colors in their eyes. So Jenny sent me her floppy cat eyes, her ragdoll eyes, and they're just beautiful blue eyes. So she didn't even use lighting, extra lighting for it. And we can see lots of detail. But normally you need lots of lighting, especially with dogs. Yeah. Does that
One
help?
thing I did do, Poppy, and I don't know if this will be helpful to anyone, but I don't have a cell phone right now, but say this is my cell phone. I made sure that my cats were looking this way towards the sunlight that was coming in from the window. Because then, obviously it's the same concept as a flash, if you will. And then I had a wand teaser toy that I was getting them to look at the cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your cat's hardly blinked. It was amazing. Yeah, your videos was like, look at that. Sometimes you wonder when they don't blink a lot, you're like, are they okay? Like neuro functions and that. So yes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do this. Let me find it.
And for those not that aren't familiar with me and all that kind of stuff, my cat Charlie, who is this guy that is on Poppy's screen right now, he has been going through a detox and more with Pam and Perfectly Holistic because he had feline hyperesthesia syndrome. So Pam has done a lot of work, and so have I. This is my other cat, Trigg, to hopefully improve his health. And we're just kind of like, there's like 93% good, and then I'm trying to figure out the last seven. And that's just like a made up number in my head. But I was hoping that Poppy would have some insight of where Pam and I can fine tune what's left.
All right, because I started with Trigg, we're gonna start with Trigg. So
Yes.
Trigg, both cats are almost 14 years old. And here's his adorable face. It looks like his nose reminds me of the Tesla logo. I'm like, that is the cutest nose ever.
I'll never see his nose the same again.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
So I cropped it. I cropped one of the photos that gave us a good look at both eyes. And then I also highlighted it. So most of the photos you guys will need to highlight to make the distinction really, really pop. You can see the difference. I brightened it, I contrasted it, and you can see like there's almost like scale looking fibrous. So when you look at an eye initially, I look at the overall texture, color. So we've got a lot of texture going on in here. We've got lots of dark marks. You can also look for light marks, and you can look for streaks and blobs. And then this it looks a little blurry, super enlarged, but you can see possible parasite lines. And I can flip back to the original one where it's a little smaller. You can see, so parasite lines are like these little feathers coming off the pupils. You can see possible skin allergy or lack of circulation on the outer ring. You can see possibly a liver or an upper front leg mark. So it's not like this absolute science, but there's, and I have a community of veterinarians and pet professionals, and we're trying to up level this modality. But the lines can blur between marks. So this kind of goes between two marks as, is it a liver mark? Is it a spleen mark? Is it a front paw mark? So this is where I would have a conversation with Jenny and say, okay, what do you think's going on here? Do you think there's a liver concern? Or if you palpate the upper shoulder of your cat's left shoulder, so the left eye controls the left side of the body, the right eye controls the right side of the body. And she goes, you know, palpates it, there might be some soreness there. So just rule it out. Now, this, when I talked to Jenny earlier, I was like, hey, is your cat's on medication? What is the deal here? And she goes, oh, yeah, this cat was recently on antibiotics. And so all of this darkness, all of this fiber, split fibers, is medication or toxicity from medication. So all of this can clear up with the detox protocol, which is super cool. So I might use something like phosphorus or some other homeopathic remedy that is correct for this cat specifically, and humic fulvic acid to just clean out the system and increase fluidity within the body. Okay, and here's Trigg's right eye. We have this pretty large mark, and here's two different angles of this eye. So this is dilated pupils and not. And I thought it was interesting because you can't see quite as much. This is a much cleaner shot. So if you can get the pupil tight, that gives us more surface to look at other marks. But this is consistent. The good news on this is it's a little translucent. So it's either coming or going. If it was a solid blobby mark, I might send Jenny to the vet for x-rays in that bronchial area. So this is bronchial or front paw, and you read the front leg higher up or lower by the paw itself. So this would be, once again, possibly a right front leg, not the paw. I should take paw out because it's higher than the paw mark. Now we also have this skin circulation line that I didn't mark on this slide. It's a little fuzzy, so we might have a little lack of circulation. So that could be just brushing, or if there is some skin allergies, dealing with that. But usually the outer rim is highlighted with skin and circulation. And then we have possible parasite lines, a little feathering. But this is funny because it's not necessarily a parasite line. You can see it here too. It's in the cecum area. So there might be a mild obstruction or some congestion in the cecum, or just toxicity. So GI tract, gut health is wealth. And Jenny's cats have great gut health overall. These are amazing GI tract eyes. And we're going to go deeper into the GI tract, how you can assess your program on that workshop with Pam on June 3rd. So this is just a general overall thing that you can just see what we see through the iris. So iridology is the study of the iris. Now here's a cool mark. Is this funny, like 3 little black dots, and then it's highlighted in white. So that means it's acute and chronic both. So it's an active, painful situation in the spinal area. So if you look at like an eye grid, it will point to anything in the whole cat structures. So whether it's the thoracics, the lumbars, in that area. So is it a chiropractic issue, or is it sore bones? Sometimes you can read the pupil shape, and the pupil shape often detects or allows you to understand where they're out of alignment. So if it gets a little flat in here, this cat might be out of alignment in those areas. And then once again, we have toxicity with medication. And so that's a basic overview of this eye. And
Bobby,
then
I have a question. Can I ask you to go back to Trigg on the bronchial thing? I just thought of something. So
yeah,
these photos of Charlie and Trigg's eyes were taken 2 days ago. And about a day before that, I had reached out to Pam because Trigg was he was purring, and then it would create a mucus, and then he'd start coughing. And I believe that that's related to allergies because Pam gave me a remedy to try, and he hasn't had the coughing since. So would allergies show up in the bronchial, or is that different?
thank you for asking that. And yes, totally. Plus, here we just talked about the skin allergy relationship, and it's right in correlation with this dot.
Okay.
Yeah, so absolutely. And the fun thing is, I bet a couple days ago that was more solid dark, and it's fading out.
Okay.
So keep an eye on this, Jenny, and make
Yes.
sure it goes away. And if it doesn't go away, just keep talking to Pam, using different remedies, and get it to resolve. So that is the fun thing about iridology, you guys, is you can get an overall feel for your program, if your program's working, or if there's an up and coming health issue, all of a sudden the eye changes, because we're always looking at our pet's eyes. And so when you see something superficially, you know, it's not like a veterinarian scratched cornea type of emergency. It actually correlates to different body parts, and you can be proactive about it. Pam tells a story about how since she met me and we did that podcast, that she looked in her cat's eye and saw a mark on the liver area, grabbed a liver remedy, next day it was gone. So it can resolve that fast. It's like real time. And that's why I love sharing this with pet parents, because now that you have your cell phones, we can bring it into the home and pet parents can use it and be proactive and ahead of issues and get your cat to the vet, because cats don't always show you that they're sick until they're really, really sick, but the eye doesn't lie. So the eye marks, unless your cat is on some sort of painkillers, which often block the nerve receptors, and you'll get a false positive. Like you'll get a healthy looking eye because the painkillers are blocking the pain receptors and it's not marking. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And
Actually,
then,
I saw a huge change in Trig's eyes once he went on the antibiotic for his dental. So yes, I can understand how that would change things.
yeah, and it's scary for the pet owner, and you'll take some people end up running their pets to the vet and going, why is this marking on my cat's eye? What is going on? And the vets will often be like, we don't know why this happens, but there's a story behind it. There really is a reason. So here we have Charlie, who's gone through a autoimmune disorder type situation. You see a lot of black and a lot of fibers in this eye, and it looks like the eye is almost peppery. And so peppery looking eyes scream steroids to me. And so I asked Jenny, is this cat on steroids? And he does have a history of steroid use. He's not currently on steroids though, right?
No, he hasn't been on steroids for a year,
Yeah.
but he was on them for a long time.
So I bet you anything that this cat's eyes were even more peppery and marked in this area. So once again, we have like this bronchial issue. Often when you have a bronchial lung issue, you will also have a kidney or urinary concern. They kind of go hand in hand. And then this is in the face. And then we also have in the brain region and on the face also. So this cat has been neurologic in the past. How's his neuro function?
I mean, it's improved tremendously, but he had a head trimmer from flea meds, and then Pam said that the hyperesthesia came from a rabies vaccine. And so, yes, I mean, obviously he had the neurological reaction to all of that, but the head trimmer uh, was started 2 years ago in July. And if he gets toxic, he can have a head trimmer again. And that can start with like flea bites.
Okay. And also we see this funny little line coming off the pupil, and that's going, it looks like it goes into the pancreas and the gallbladder and the liver region. So digestion is health, and liver is a major detoxifying organ. So just being proactive. And also this pupil has this black line. Excuse me. Hold on.
I think you called it a felt tip line or something earlier. Is that right?
It looks like a felt tip pen surrounding the pupil. And that's an indication of lack of absorption. So you don't want to see that. You want to see less than that. And I think it's interesting because it kind of correlates with the darkest area of the eye too. So you'll often when I see something very dark, I'll see above it and below it or directly on the line and see if there's like some relationship in the eye. And then maybe a hind end pelvis groin area in this area. And then on this eye, we have some peppering. We have the spinal area. This is also bronchial. Is this, so it's hard to see. It looks like a legitimate mark, but because of the glare, it looks like maybe it might be a shadow too, but I believe that's actually really there, and it's pretty much in line with the whole lung aspect. And then we have these funny 2 marks here, which I asked Jenny if her cat had a sore throat, and she goes, Charlie screams a lot. So he might have a sore throat from meowing all the time, which is a chronic and an acute mark because we have a light mark and a dark mark on top of that. And then both the cats were recently desexed. And that seems to highlight.
Not recently, very young desexed.
Oh, this one. The other one?
No. They were both desexed when they were 6 weeks old.
Oh, I thought you said 6 weeks ago. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So often you can see castration marks, especially if it leaves scar tissue, you guys, in a certain region in both eyes. So yes, if there is scar tissue of it, if it was kind of a rough job, you can see that too. So the eyes are amazing. They're totally insightful. I think Jenny could definitely be proactive in cleaning up her cat's eyes a little bit more and increasing absorption. So how are you going to increase absorption?
How am I going to do it? I'm going to reach out to Pam and be like, this is what Poppy said. What do I do?
Go to Pam.
But that was one of my questions. And I think I said something to you yesterday on a voicemail about it, but that, okay, so I've got a cat with all these problems. What do I do?
Yeah.
Because I really don't know. I mean, other than like digestive enzymes or something like that, but
So your humic and fulvic acid can also increase gut health, detoxification. So it can definitely help repair some stuff and increase absorption. So I'm a big fan in that. I don't use ion because I've had so much success with another product that I've used for like 20 years. And so in the back of my head, I'm always like, I should probably just buy a bottle of ion just to see and compare, but I haven't. I just keep forgetting. Are you on that? Is your cat on that?
They are now, but like Pam pulses it. Does that make sense? And so, like when we were initially started working with Pam, they were on it for like 4 months. And then we took them off of it and they're on it again now. But I'd be willing to try something else.
Or
And I know
you could double it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you could just double it. I can actually show the slides on that horse that I did. Let me.
And Poppy, if I like, let's say I am a cat owner who is not working with Pam, do you provide that kind of advice and like a I don't know, protocol on what to do and then recheck, or what do you do in that situation?
So if it's a dog and a horse, definitely. On cats, I will do homeopathy. But when it comes to herbs, I just tell everybody call Pam. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I tell 5 people a day on these Facebook groups to reach out to Pam. So
yeah. So this horse has a toxic GI tract and somewhat stressed. And after I took these horses' eye photos, the only thing I did was double his humic acid. And it cleared up that much. So the whole toxicity in the GI tract went away.
okay.
So that's why I'm such a big fan of that product. And I can always tell when a horse is on that product. And it's a dog, cat, horse, chicken, goat. You know, you could pretty much put any mammal on that product. Not humans. They have their own human product. But
do you mind saying the name of the product?
It's a horrible name. It's Lithicin. It's Lithicin, but everybody thinks you're saying lecithin. So I constantly have to go, no, it's not lecithin. They'll be like, I bought my bottle of lecithin. I'm like, no. And you can only get it at www.wujinsan.us. Wujinsan.us. It's tricky. I've used this company probably for 20 years. So it really works. I've been really happy with it. When I submitted this this case study to my iridologist mentor. She was like, that's impossible. I'm all, what's impossible? I'm like, I didn't know it wasn't possible. So I was so new at it. I had no idea. And in human iridology, they say eyes don't change much. But in animal iridology, we can get the eyes to change a lot, obviously. So clearly this is the same horse's eye because we have this mark here, which is that mark there, and these marks here, which are those marks there. And so I was like, honestly, it is possible. And so she had, in her whole career, she had never cleaned an eye up like this. And she was
Wow.
blown away. So that's why I love to show this. And you can see all
Yeah,
the,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Does that product have a taste to it?
Oh, it looks like charcoal. It's just black powder. And
Okay, and
and
you
it,
sprinkle it on their food or what?
yeah, little goes a long way. You'll see the eye clear up pretty fast. So anytime my cat starts getting like little black lines in the GI tract, I throw it in her food. My dog, I pulse it, and my horses, I pulse it. But I basically work off the iris for the cats, whether to use it or not.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
I hope
That would
that
be good.
helps. Yeah.
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 Yes, it does. I'm excited because yeah, the lack of absorption for Charlie makes a lot of sense. I I told you Poppy and I talked on the phone a couple days ago because I said to her, I was like, listen, if you find something like really scary in my cat's eyes, I don't think I want to like have that recorded. Um, so she did not hide anything during this recording, but that was one of my fears in doing this. And I had told her then that Charlie, working with Pam, started gaining weight and muscle back. And then we had this flea infestation and he started losing muscle again. And so I'm glad to have something to go, or I want to try that product. I'm going to have Pam muscle test it and make sure it's right for him. But it's exciting to me because I know there's something missing.
Yeah. And you have new options. You can
Yeah.
also use homeopathy. Um, I mean, I'm a big fan of like raw goat's milk and things like that, but it might not be right for your cat. So yes, I do think that the raw goat's milk has some nice enzymes and just coats the stomach and rebuilds the tissue, but it's not right for everyone. I
Yeah.
would
I can't get mine to eat it. They hate it.
um yeah, and I would love to see like more diversity in the milk department, like camel milk or sheep
Mm.
milk, or everybody's buying goat and people are running out of it. So it
Oh,
it would be fun to see a lot more diversity because I do believe that we need to rotate that stuff.
okay. Well, yeah, I wish mine would go for it, and even like colostrum and stuff too. I wish there was more diversity there.
Yeah, because it's always cattle.
Yes. Okay, so before you go on your workshop, I always try to think as a cat owner, what do I want to know, or why would I sign up for that? So, what's the protocol for that workshop? How are you guys going to do it?
So it's just basically an intro to iridology. You're going to learn how to take your cat eye photos. So we'll go into a little deeper detail on that. And we're going to probably do a deeper dive into the GI tract. Your cat's GI tracts were really good. So
Yay.
we really didn't have to talk about that at all, but gut health is wealth. So that is something anybody can see with the human eye without a photo. And you can look at their eye and go, ooh, gut health is off. And 70% of the immune system's in the gut. So why not talk about that? So we're going to talk about that and just kind of the broad aspect of the eye. So I'm not going to go into crazy detail. It's
No.
a 45-minute presentation, but just the history, why it works, and what you can learn from looking at your cat's GI tract and how to resolve it.
And I assume you'll have like cat eye examples of, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, and dogs too. So it'll be
Okay.
cat and dog. Canine and feline are pretty much identical. Horses are different. Their grid is different. Their assessment's different.
Oh, yeah, because their iris goes, or not iris, their pupil goes,
Yeah.
yeah, different way. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's neat.
And
Yeah.
so goats and horses look almost identical.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did want to share for those that might be skeptics or whatever. I just turned 44 this month, and when I was in my 20s, I had a thyroid disease. I was hyperthyroid, and I was on medication. I was supposed to get my thyroid removed and all that kind of stuff. So I was looking for holistic alternatives to doing that because I didn't want to have my throat cut into, and I didn't want to have radioactive iodine because I thought at that point I might have children someday. So I went down to an iridologist.
Iridologist. You're gonna screw me up. I'm gonna start saying it the other way too. That's why I'm laughing.
So I went to a lady who reads eyes in Oklahoma, and at that point, I was very Western medicine raised and educated, not educated, but that mindset.
Programmed.
And I was like, I am
Programmed.
not telling her what's the matter with me. I am not telling her. And she immediately picked up on the hyperthyroidism just by looking at my eyes. So it's a legit thing.
Yeah, and you can do the same for animals. So animals have thyroid marks, adrenal marks, and in that whole brain region, you can see all sorts of fun things. And we are seeing neurologic issues in the horses. We've done kind of a deep dive and tracked like these neurologic diseases in horses. And there's some pretty consistent marks with them. Even when they're not displaying the neurologic disease yet, we're ahead of the curve on that. So exciting research. And I would love to see more neurologic cats just to learn more about that. Neuro things are kind of my jam. So I love to learn about disease specific. You can't diagnose diseases in iridology unless we do a lot of tracking and we see some consistency, but it's still in the research phase and probably will always be in the research phase, but we're definitely leveling it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and so that made me think too that when Poppy and I were talking the other day, she asked if Trigg was like limping or had a problem with his front leg, and I was like, yeah. Like I actually just reached out to the chiropractor because I was like, oh buddy, is it time to go back again? But Poppy had no knowledge of that and pulled it out from his eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool stuff.
It is cool.
Very
And
cool.
I thought it was a joke too. So I went to Kingdom College of Natural Health and got my animal naturopathic certification through them. And they offered Animal Iridology. And I thought, oh, what a bunch of bull that is. But it was a super affordable class. And I thought, there's a lot of people who do what I do in the Los Angeles area. Maybe they'll set me apart. I don't know. I'll give it a go. It's plenty affordable enough. It's tax deduction. I'll jump in it. In the first hour, I was just like, why don't people know about this? Like I was so blown away by it. And
yes,
I don't know if anybody else taking the class was as moved as I was, but from that moment on, I have never stopped taking pictures of eyes. I'm like just eyes, eyes, eyes. And once you learn about eyes, you'll look at every movie, every actor on the screen, you'll be like, oh, what's that? So yes, you get like consumed. You never look the same after you learn about iridology.
right. I was laughing because I was thinking about you in the grocery store being like, oh God, that gut health. Like whatever you see in someone's eyes, and they're probably like, why is that lady looking at me weird? So that's
It's
great.
true. I catch myself staring at people and people are like looking at me like I'm psycho. I'm all sorry.
Yeah.
You
Well, and
have to do like a random turn your head, like da da da.
and with the mask thing, like I've started noticing people's eyes way more with like all of this covered and all you can see is that. Yes, that would have been very challenging for me if I had been you.
Yes. Well, and like on your cat, you can definitely see like lymphatic marks that I didn't even talk about. And so you can see like chronic illnesses with lymphatic rosary marks. And so, yes, absolutely. There's so much to learn.
Yes, very cool. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for doing this for my kitties.
You're welcome.
Um, and thank you for doing the workshop with Pam. I will post when I don't know, Poppy, are you going to post this on your page too?
I can.
Okay. Well, I'm going to post it on my YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and so I'll include links to your workshop, to your site, and all that good stuff too, and to that weird name, fulvic and humic acid, because so nobody has to write it
I
down.
always could tell the company, why did you name it that? You need to change that. That's horrible. But
It's hard to remember, and
it's
yeah, that's
really
difficult.
hard. It's not user friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you again. I so appreciate it.
Jenny, it's a pleasure. And I want to see the after.
Of course.
Of course.
Yes, yes. I mean, what would be cool is to post this and then like change my thumbnail to like before and after of their irises. That would be really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take care. Have a
Thank you.
great holiday weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Sure, you guys. Thank you. Bye.